Full disclaimer, oh my god, I almost dropped my phone on my face. Full disclaimer, I had to film this and edit this like 2 full times. So if you're like, why is the camera very obviously different all of a sudden? That's why. Mind your business. Enjoy.
Did you like even listen to Billy's album, or did you just like come up with that opinion based on Twitter?
Seriously, dude? Stop bullshitting me. That's your number one? You're such a fucking liar.
Solid. There isn't much to complain about with this album. I didn't like the song 8, but it's not enough to bring the whole thing down. Lyrically, it's weird. A lot of people are always judging for it, which is fair, given the fact that she was like 16, 17, and a lot of the songs.
Wow, seriously? I wasted half an hour of my life for that?
Let's start over, okay? Last year wasn't exactly my video making highlight. I get that. I said some stupid shit. I get that. I had the wrong albums at the wrong spots. I get that. Let me explain. When I made it, I wasn't exactly having the best time. I was fighting with everybody in my life. I was stressed from school. I wanted to drop out. It was not a good time. All of December was pretty crappy, and that's all the music I listened to in December to make the video, so I just associated it with the badness. So I was just mad for no reason, and it made me hate everything for no reason. But that does not even explain some of the ranking decisions, because as I was making it, I knew it was bullshit. Like, we need to take this back a little bit further, okay? Every year, there's some retroactive wrong picks, okay? 2016, Misadventures by Pierce Lavelle should have been number 1. Okay, it was number 2, should have been number 1. At the time, I thought number 2 was the best spot. Looking back at it, no, it wasn't. Should have been number 1, okay? 2017, Melodrama, Lord, should have been higher than number 3. Not number 1, number 2, okay? I can fully admit that now. Okay. But at the time, felt like number 3 was the right pick. Okay. Even 2018, I had an EP over Coheed and Cambria. And if you know me, you know how much I love Coheed and Cambria. And you know how much I like that album. That was a bit of a weird pick. I can get that. Okay. But every single one of these that I just mentioned was the right pick at the time, because that's how I felt at the time. Last year, I didn't even do that. Like, I love Motionless in White. Don't get me wrong. I love them a lot. It would have been on the list no matter what. Number one. And then I had the audacity to be like, it would be a lie if I had anything else as number 1. No, it wouldn't have, bitch. It was a lie that I had it there in the first place. It should have been Billie Eilish. I let Twitter ruin that for me. We're not going to get into that one today. But that wasn't even it. I had Lana Del Rey at number 5 for no reason other than it made me sad. Bitch, that's the point of the album, is to make you sad. And it made me sad. So I put it down a little bit. That makes sense. And I had Marina on the list. Why? And I had her at 8th. I like the 2 albums that were under it, and I did not like the Marina album. I even said in the video that I did not like the Marina album. What was the point of having it in a top 10? Even if I needed to round out a top 10, it should be number 10. I like the other 2. Tyler, the Creator, Opeth, good shit. No, gotta have Marina. I didn't care while making it. I didn't care. I was not having a good time. You can ask my friends from the time. I was a bitch to them too. Just was not having a good time. This year will be better, my guy. Will I regret some picks? Probably. Will I say something stupid? Probably. But at least I've done enough research so that the frickin' Billy fiasco does not happen again this year. Okay? That's something I can promise. Let's get started.
It's hard to think clearly, you live inside my head. Many a day, many again, now you're gone. It's so unfair.
So Beach Bunny is a Chicago band, and not the only one on this list, just a spoiler alert here. And they're an emo band from Chicago, which is also not the only one on this list, let me tell you. But they had some success with their first EP, and one song really stuck out. It was called Prom Queen. You might be familiar with it because it was huge on TikTok. And a lot of people were using it, and some people got canceled for using it. And it's a whole bunch of things. It doesn't matter. What does matter is this album doesn't take much of a departure lyrically. It's also very, like, Teen Diary-esque, lots of insecurity stuff, love loss, anxiety, etc. And I think it goes really well. I think they did a very good job. They say that lyrically they're basing it off of Rita. I don't see that at all. But, whatever. Lyrically, when I was writing stuff, I based it off of Miss May I. I didn't sound like Miss May I at all. I was just listening to Miss May I and I was like, I'm gonna make some music. And it was terrible. And so was theirs. I'm kidding. But that's not the point here. The point here is this album is really good. It's not very long. Very easy to get through. Very, what's the word? Nice. I guess. I don't know. I don't know what the word is, but what I do know is this album is worth your time. My favorite song is Promises, but I also like Colorblind, and Miss California is, I guess, the most Marina-esque song on it, just in terms of lyrics. But either way, give this album a listen. Good stuff. Can't wait to hear more. Can't wait to see them grow, etc. Beach Bunny, Honeymoon, number 10. Let's get it.
So I'm going to do this one a little bit differently because this I don't know. This one is a little bit unfortunate. And once I reveal who they are, you'll know exactly why it's a bit unfortunate. Because this album came out in April. Quarantine and stuff like that for most of the world started around March. And I'm not trying to say that they would have done better if they knew more about COVID, but this is a band that completely thrives in absolute bullshit.
Looking up and gripping their strings, they ask, where do they lead?
I'll confess, I actually didn't even like this album when I first heard it. I thought it was a bit weird. I thought it was a massive step down from the last one, and a huge step down from the Minesweep. That one is one of the best albums ever recorded. But it did grow on me. There are some really good songs that are very catchy. There are some really good songs that are not as catchy, but make you think. And there are songs that sound deeper than they are. There are songs that don't sound as deep as they are. The first waltz, if you are not familiar with them, they'll sound like lunatic conspiracy theorists. But that's sort of the point of this album in a way. Nothing's true and everything is possible. It's just about like sort of critiquing that sort of culture and stuff like that. And I think they do a really good job at it. It's a little bit too long, I will admit. But yeah, if we want to highlight some of the more unfortunate moments, there's a song called Modern Living, and it wasn't very modern when it came out. But if we want to talk about some highlights, The King is very catchy. Satellites is a really nice song, and I really like Marionettes 1 and 2. They always hype me up. That's what Marionettes 2 is the one that I use for the transition, if we even want to call it a transition. But yeah, Enter Shikari. It's not their best album, but it is one that I enjoyed a lot, and I'm glad that I gave it a second shot, because otherwise I probably would never have listened to it again, and I would never appreciated it the way it should be appreciated. Appreciated? Why did I say it like that? Who cares how I said it? Let's get going.
Looking for M's like I lost a friend. Jump out of my bed like where the bread. You go hold the egg. Waiter, bring the check. When we talk, we collision cars. Keep us in your thoughts. Fully dressed.
A lot of people in my life really love this band. Group, really. They're two guys. And I never really knew why. I even saw them live and I didn't know why. And that says a lot, because usually that's what will get me into an artist that I don't care that much about. If I see them live, they're 99 times out of 100, I will start to love them. Didn't really happen much with these guys. Thought that it was just something that I wasn't going to relate to, whatever. time goes on, this is their 4th album. And I don't know if I get it, but I definitely enjoy this. I mean, okay, I don't know why other people like it, but I know why I like them, and it's because they're really fucking good. The lyricism is really good. The beats are so well done. The production entirely LP, really good job. Killer Mike is awesome. All the featured artists are really good. It's just something that I want to listen to and like walk or run or you know, in a car or while I'm playing video games or laying in bed and just bobbing my head. It works for everything, but in a good way. It's not like so bland that it blends in. No, it's just really good, and it always adds a better atmosphere to whatever I'm doing. Ooh La La, the song I use, is my favorite, but really there isn't much of a dull moment. It's just, you know, an album full of bangers, really. But for the most part, nothing stuck out as much because I just wanted to put it on and just listen to the full thing and then move on with my life. You feel me? So why did I say it like that? My point is, really fucking good. Like I said, lyrics, there are some dumb ones, but they pull it off. And they're just really good. And I'm glad that I finally got into them, and I'm glad I gave them a chance with this one. And I'm glad that Chris played it in the car, because otherwise I probably wouldn't have even tried. So thank you, Chris. You're now watching this video.
You want a timeless song, I wanna change the game. Like modern architecture, John Lautner coming your way. I know.
Usually I'll have like one rap album, one pop album on my lists, but the pop album is always at least a little bit alternative. Like Marina is pretty alternative, even though she tried very hard not to be with the last album. Billie Eilish is extremely popular, but she's alternative. 21 Pilots has like streaming records and shit, but I mean, they're an emo band that just happened to get popular. Stuff like that. This is the first purely pop album I've ever had on any of my lists. And I don't regret putting it on here because it's really fucking fun to listen to. It's very dancey. I would listen to it and it just makes me want to dance. Like, it literally just makes me want to dance. I know I sound annoyed. It's because I've taken this freaking thing like 20 times already and I just keep mumbling and I'm like, nobody can hear that. No one needs to know about the backstage stuff. Backstage, whatever. Let's just talk. I dance to this album a lot alone in my room. That sounds depressing, but it's not. I have a very good time. And it just, I don't know, I feel like anybody would enjoy that. Future Nostalgia by Dua Lipa, the song, I mean, is I don't know, a good representation. I knew a lot about Dua Lipa before. I never listened to a full-length album by her or anything like that, but Taught in the Shadows was a huge fan. I would like hear her on the radio and stuff going to like school if I Ubered, stuff like that. And I was actually confused. I thought she was a little bit boring, but Todd seemed to like her. Other people seemed to really like her, and I was like, okay. And then this album came out, and everybody was shitting their pants. I was like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And it was very much worth a shot. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every single second of it. Now, I will say, all the lyrics are about sex for real this time, not like last year. And I don't relate. I don't know if you can tell, but I don't relate. So that was a disconnect, but for the most part, it was really good. And I don't have to relate to enjoy it. What I can relate to is good music. Okay. Yeah, Future Nostalgia, Dua Lipa. Apologies to Olivia, because she knew that this was going to be on, and I misled her and made her believe that it's not. So, you know me. And, yeah.
Till I made a few million and now I got more problems than you. I know it feels good to win, but it hurts a lot when you lose. You'll never say what you gon' do unless you following through. I'm talking execution. And I don't know where I'm going, but I'm learning as I'm growing. That's the evolution. Hope I don't finish.
I have absolutely no fucking clue how this is an EP. It is 43 minutes long. It is 13 songs. There's skits in it. It's not an EP. I get that rap has like 3-hour-long albums and stuff. Joyner Lucas himself had an hour-long album like 2 months before this came out. But it's not an EP. It's an album. It's an album. In 2015, I had an EP at number 5, and that one was like 20 minutes long. This is an album. That was an EP. This is an album. Okay, but getting that out of the way, the lyrics on this are so good. I was not very familiar with Joyner Lucas before this. I knew a couple songs, and I knew some music critics that I really like, that I respect the opinions of, really like and respect this guy too. So I was like, okay, let's check it out. I did not listen to ADHD, and that one didn't get, the best reviews and whatever. But I saw that this one was there, and I was like, fuck it, let's listen to it. And this one was really nice. And he said that this is what he thinks people want out of a Joyner Lucas album. And I mean, again, I'm not very familiar, but I can see why, because this is really fucking good. I loved it. And lyrically, like I said, it's really good. Even like the brag rap song is like nice and introspective. There are some lyrics that I would go without. The Young M.A. one, for example. But for the most part, there isn't much for me to complain about. Evolution, the song is really good. Things I've Seen is really, really, really good. And Snitch is I don't know. It just hypes me up, and it's like Guilty Conscience by Eminem and Dr. Dre, except better, which is nice. So yeah, overall, I'm really glad that I got into this guy, and I'm really glad that this is what I listened to first, because apparently the other one was less good. I don't actually know that. I'm gonna have to check it out. But either way, I can't wait to hear more from him. This was really, really, really fun to listen to. And shout out Joyner Lucas. Hopefully he'll be on here again. Maybe next year, maybe the year after. Who knows?
You sit around and wait for nothing. I can't tell you the future, but I know that it's coming. We'll never get a second chance, staring down these falling grains of sand. So what's the point in holding back when it's just another crack in the oven?
There's not really much for me to say about this one, other than I'm just really happy that Knucklepuck is back in my life. If you knew me during high school, you know how much of a fan of them I was. Copacetic means so much to me. It still means so much to me. I have it on a sweatshirt that I'm too lazy to go and get. And when Shapeshifter came out, I liked it, but I was a bit disappointed. I thought maybe I grew their music or something. I thought maybe I was just like, only their old stuff is good sort of situation. And so when this one came out, I liked the singles, and I was like, there's some hope. And then I actually listened to the album, and I fucking loved it. I could not wipe the smile off of my face while listening to this. It's just, originally it was lower on this list, and then I re-listened to everything just to double check. And it is now 5th, obviously. And just, I don't know, What Took You So Long is a song, and it's also a sentiment that I held very closely. I did not realize that I was waiting for an album like this. So when it came out, when I listened to it, it was just, I don't know, I forced Chris to listen to it. He didn't know. We got through pretty much the entire album, and he was not aware. And it was because it's a breeze. And it's just so good. It's just so good. I honestly feel like anybody who would listen to it, like regardless of whether or not they even like this music, would probably enjoy it at least a little bit. A lot of the praise it got was for being as positive as it is during a year that's as negative as it is. And I can see that, especially the song 2020. It's all about how, nothing is permanent and stuff like that. It's just nice. Earthquake, Tear You Down, 2020, the song, the one that I used, What Took You So Long. It's just, there's no song on this that's bad. And this is something that I'm going to say a lot for the next few. There's just no song on this that's bad. And I just love it a lot. So, shout out to Knucklepuck. Thanks for existing, and thanks for coming back to my life.
You took the money, but the money couldn't buy a friend. Now I want you to leave me alone.
So in 2018, I said if they put out an album, it would probably be number 1. Number 4 is close enough, okay? Like I said in the last one, any of these could have been number 1, really. It's just, it was a very, very tight race. I love all of these albums so much. And this one is the danciest, the happiest out of all of them. But it also is kind of what you expect out of I Don't Know How, because the lyrics can be deep and sad and personal, and they can also be very murdery, if you know what I mean. The title track for this is, I don't even know how to. It's an experience. Like, you should lie down at night with the window a little bit open, wearing headphones, close your eyes with all the lights off and everything, and listen to that song. It is an experience, and it's a really nice experience. Obviously, Razzmatazz, great song. Leave Me Alone took me a while to listen to, and that was not a while to listen to, but a while to like. And that was the first single, so I was not even expecting to like this very much. But now it's my favorite song. I used it for the freaking transition and everything. I Need You Here is a really good song. Now, I will say it does dip a little bit. Some songs are not as good as the other ones. I will admit that. But as an overall experience, and if I had just a songs list, there's a very good chance that at least like the 3 that I named would have been on that top 10 songs list. They're so good. This band is so good. I can't wait to hear more from them. And I'm glad there's actually an album now instead of an EP. And it might actually still be shorter than Joyner Lucas's EP. I'm not entirely sure. We established earlier in this video that last year, at the end of the year, I was not a happy chap. I was not doing a very good time. I was fighting with my friends and my girlfriend and my family all the time. Everything was making me miserable. School sucked, etc. That trickled into the beginning of this year. And one day, I was sitting at a bus stop, waiting for the bus back when doing that was safe and all that. I was coming back from school back when that wasn't online and all that. And a song came out, and it's called Defender, and it is by August Burns Red. And I listened to it, and I immediately felt all of my negative emotions go with the song. And the entire album is pretty much that, but not in like a rageful way. You probably, if you know me, I've probably forced you to listen to August Burns Red before. They're loud, they're aggressive, they're heavy, they're also very melodic, musical, and they are kind of unique in this scene. Nobody sounds like August Burns Red. You know what I mean? And this album is the best one they've had since Rescue and Restore, which was my favorite album by them. It's still my favorite album by them. And this is the best one they've had since then. If you remember, I put Phantom Anthem as number 2. And if you way remember, I did have Found in Faraway Places in my 2015 list. So I'm obviously a fan of those 2 albums, but this one is better than even those. It's everything I love about a band that I fucking love with all my heart. One of my favorite bands, maybe even my favorite band. And you might be thinking, why is it number 1? I just love these 3 so much. Like, I keep telling you, any of the past, like, 5 could, or any of the top 5 could have been number 1. But just the lyrics, the vocals, they let Jake sing a little. That I don't even know. The Narrative is one of my favorite songs. Defender, like I said, incredible shit. Bones was a good single. Just an incredible album. Guardians just came at the right time for me. And came at the right time for a lot of people, because it came out right as quarantine started. So yeah, Guardians, August Burns Red, fuck yeah. Most years it's really hard to pick a number 1. There's usually like 1 or 2 that can go back and forth. Sometimes it's pretty straightforward. In 2018, for example, that one actually would have been a lie if I put something else. Last year was bullshit. It should have been Billy. That was obviously Billy. I don't know why I put something else. But yeah, usually there's one or two things that could have been number one that I did not put at number one. And I did not have anywhere near as much trouble in any other year as I did with this one. And it's all because of fucking Afterburner by Dance Gavin Dance. It's just the vocals, the singing, the screaming, the rapping, which, I mean, I can't believe I'm about to say this considering the history of metal rap, but more bands should do that. I mean, you know what? No, just keep it a Dance Gavin Dance thing, because they do it well. But yeah, the vocals are incredible, no matter what style they're in. The lyrics are both good and serious and really weird and Dance Gavin Dancey, and if you listen to them, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The instrumentals are as amazing as ever. It is just so perfect. It is everything I love about them put into one. And I've been a fan of theirs, like, I've gradually become a fan of theirs since, like, 2015. Like, I listened to Tree City Sessions. I was like, this is nice. First of all, shout out to Tree City Sessions too, but I listened to the first Tree City Sessions and I was like, this is nice. And then I started to get more and more into them. And then in 2016, they had an album, and I didn't have it in my top 10, but I really enjoyed it. And in 2018, they had an album, and it would have been in my top 10 if it wasn't 10. It would have been in my top 12. That is more accurate. That is a more accurate way of saying it. And Afterburner is just like a culmination of everything I love about them. The craziness, the chaos, the melodies, everything comes together so well. And every time I listen to it, I want to put it as number one. But then I listen to the next album, I'm like, nope, this one's a little bit better. It's just so good. It's just so good. Everything about it is so nice. My favorite song is Prisoner. But I really love pretty much the entire thing. Actually, you know what? Here's a bit of a story. So always, when I listen to an album, usually in preparation for this, I listen to the album and I click like on the songs that stick out for me so I can say it here. And also so I can know which songs to revisit specifically when I don't want to listen to the whole thing. The first time I listened to this, I liked all the songs. And then I re-listened to it again, and I was like, the entire point of this re-listen is to unlike songs that don't stick out. I unliked 2. There are 13. That pretty much tells you everything you need to know about how I feel about this one. It's just so fucking good. And it is... Now that I'm talking about it, I want to put it back at number 1, but no, I've committed. This is not a motionless in white situation, because I know for a fact that once I start talking about that one, I will start to feel the same way about that one. Let's just get to it. Honorable mentions: Healer, Group Love, first album I listened to this year, very good stuff. Color Theory by Soccer Mommy, also very good. Was originally on this list, but then I had knocked it down when I re-listened to RTJ. A couple of EPs, My Arms Are Open by Emma Blackery and Spirit Orb by Chloe Moriando. They're like 4 songs each. Was never going to make it on, but I really enjoyed them. All Distortions Are Intentional by Neck Deep. I convinced Chris it was going to be number 1. If you're watching this, haha, you look like an idiot. Punisher by Phoebe Bridgers. Bit boring, very emotional though, really good stuff. Manic by Halsey was also nice. Underneath by Code Orange. Never really listened to them before. They do the theme song for The Fiend Bray Wyatt in WWE. So I was like, I'll listen to this album, and it was very good. They're from Pittsburgh. I love Pittsburgh. Y'all know me. And Ticket to My Downfall by Machine Gun Kelly. There's some stupid bits. I really hated the skits, but the good songs on it are very good. And again, if I did a top 10 songs list, there would have been at least one song off of this on there. Folklore by Taylor Swift would have been on if it was like 10 minutes shorter, 10-15 minutes shorter. It overstayed its welcome. And last but not least, Song Machine Season 1, Strange Times by Gorillaz. Felt a lot like an EP that came out in 2016 by a band that is the number 1 band, so I'm not going to say it right now. But it felt more like a collection of singles than an actual album. Still really loved it. Good stuff. Let's get to number 1.
Skies and work, the farmlands and sawmills were fighting for a time.
Palimpsest by Protest the Hero is a concept album, and it really focuses on the history of America and how they rewrite stuff. It talks about the Lakota, the Great Depression, stuff like that. And all of this is in reference to the phrase "Make America Great Again," and they're pretty much just trying to figure out what's great. Who's it great for? What do people mean? What are they talking about? And it's a delve into the history of the country, stuff that they don't want to talk about, and that they did, the stuff that happened, stuff that they do talk about but completely mischaracterized. But it's not all bad. There's a song about Amelia Earhart. Now, obviously, we know what happened with Amelia Earhart, but it's stuff like that. It's not just here's some shit that America did that was bad. And yeah, so in terms of the concept, it's just about what's great and how, you know, it's not great, but it can be if, you know, some shit happens and they stop running from the past and stuff like that. So that's the concept of the album. It is very well handled. The lyrics are really good. And in terms of the music, I mean, if you know Protest the Hero, you know exactly what to expect with this. I mean, this was their first album in 7 years. They had an EP that was like a collection of singles that they did for Patreon, I think it was. But this is their first album in 7 years, and their last one was my favorite. So they had a lot, you know, to live up to. 7 years of waiting and whatever. And I tried to lower my expectations, but I fucking loved The Canary when it came out. And then the album came out, and I listened to it, and I loved it. Just from the start. I loved it the entire time. And like I said, with Afterburner, it kept going back and forth between these two. I would listen to that, and I'm like, that's number one. I'd listen to this, and I'm like, this is number one. And I would just keep going back and forth between the two. I think I made the right decision with this, just based off the tiebreaker that there's less crazy lyrics here. But overall, just everything about this is just... There's no wasted moment. And I've said this already, but I don't know. I just love it a lot. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel weird. If you don't want to pay attention to the lyrics, if you don't want to pay attention to the concept, I mean, I suppose you can ignore it if you want and just listen to like a pretty solid prog album. But if you are not a bitch, you can also do the other part. It's good. Just as someone who likes history, this was good to listen to, without all the political stuff. And as someone who does like the political stuff, this was also really good to listen to. Just everything about it was really good, and it really summed up a lot of stuff. When I tell you that they started writing this 3 years ago, I guess almost 4 years ago now, it shouldn't be much of a surprise, innit? So, yeah, Palimpsest, but I had half a mind to lower this on the list just because I had trouble pronouncing the name, but either way, that's number one for 2020. Love it. You should listen to it. It's really good. Thanks for watching. Thank you to Emily, Chris, and Olivia for yelling at me at the beginning of this video. Thank you to Rita for helping me shoot those other parts that you saw in the very beginning. Thank you to Premiere Elements for being shit. And thank you to me for filming yesterday while tired and having to redo an entire freaking 2 hours worth of filming today. And I didn't say anything as stupid as the Billy thing.
Give yourself a medal. You just met the devil. You're the